Public Health, Safety, Judiciary, and Ethics Committee. Would you please take the call to order again, Eileen? All right, Eileen, don't take the call to order because the same members are still present. Let me just see. Okay, okay,
Yes,
good.
sir.
Thank you, Eileen. I know the thought was there. All right, I need a motion for the approval of
So
minutes. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Report and recommendation. We have, as you've all received in your packet, the amendment to our ethics ordinance. Are there any questions? Well, then I make a motion to pass the amendment to our ethics ordinance.
Second.
All in favor? Call a roll, please, Eileen.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
No.
Alderman Eugene Wesley? Alderman Sismarski?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
And that passes. Thank you. Items to be considered, oh, Chief, go right ahead. Sorry.
I just wanted to mention that council was notified today, but we did receive notice on Monday that we're going to be, the quiet zone is going to be established in Wooddale. So we're finalizing a 30-page packet that'll be going out, being signed by the city, the county, and the state. And once that is mailed out in the next few days, within about 21 days after that, the quiet zone will go into effect. So we'll update the public further once it's finally in effect.
Yes, sir, Mr. City Manager.
No more questions on the quiet zone tonight since it's not an agenda item, but I would also like to note that the train engineer still has discretion on whether or not to blow the horn if they think it's a safety issue. So even though we are a quiet zone for those residents at home, they may still hear a horn if the conductor or engineer deems it's a safety issue for a particular
Okay, I agree. We're going to keep it quiet tonight then,
Thank you, City
since
Manager.
it's not on the agenda. Any items to be considered
No
at
pun
future
intended.
meetings? I'm sorry?
No pun intended.
No pun intended. A lot of pun intended. No items to be considered at future meetings. I'll look for a motion for an adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
Call Public Work Committee to order. The minute taker reflect all are still present for roll call. I need approval of minutes for Public Works Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, here we go with a long list again. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I have a report and recommendation to enter an agreement with ComEd to install 5 new streetlights on Oakwood at a cost of $8.45 per pole, or per month or per pole?
Per bulb, per month.
I just want to make sure there's not an error there,
No.
okay? Per month, that is my motion.
Second.
Any questions? Mr. Jacob?
Is there any type of consistency as to whether they're aluminum poles versus wood poles? Because these are ComEd poles. I know the city has aluminum poles.
Mr. York?
Yes, how this would happen is that if we went with ComEd, we would put our, they would put their streetlights on their poles. If we decided to go with ourselves doing it, then we would put our streetlights on our spun aluminum poles. So the consistency would be no, there is no consistency except for the fact that a wood pole is a ComEd pole with a ComEd light, which would be the $8.45 per pole per month, versus the $29,000 that it would cost for us to install the poles, and then we would also have the maintenance responsibilities for them. So those would be on the aluminum poles.
Rebuttal?
Weren't we, I thought at one time I heard that eventually ComEd was getting rid of all their poles and they were all going to be city-owned poles.
Mr. York?
Well, I am not, I do not have that information. I don't believe that ComEd would do that. And if they did, then I mean, ultimately, we would have to take over the lights then. But as of right now, we are not gonna have that happen.
Other questions? Need a motion? Oh, we already have a motion. So we I already have a second motion. We need a roll call, please.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley? Yes. Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Absolutely. That's a yes.
Motion carries. Next, I have an installation of new streetlights on Woodside Drive near the pond crossing by H&H Electric Contractors in the amount not to exceed $5,585.00. That is my motion.
Second.
Question, Mr. Wesley? Mr. York?
Yes, Woodside does have lights, and if you notice the map that is on the board right now, there's in your packet as well. The two yellow Ls are the street lights that are owned by the city, that are in that area. There was a request made by two residents that signed the initial survey, that the resident at 382 and 387 there on their map, that they have an additional light near the creek crossing. So at that point in time, we did reach out to both of them in a survey form to make sure that they still wanted those lights and that they were willing to have it on the property adjacent to their home. And both of them agreed to that. So we met with H&H and had discussions with them on what the easiest ways to do that would be. And their easiest way was to go right along the 387 property line on the south side of Woodside Drive and install a new pole that would tie into the existing line.
Any other questions? Mr. Woods?
So you said you talked to two residents. Did a survey go out? So my question is, because I know that this is talked about every year, we created a system, surveys, and so did we follow that, or is this different process?
Mr. York?
No, we followed the process. The process states that we need to talk to the residents that are adjacent to the areas in which the streetlight would be held. Since there is a pretty large expanse between the property that is owned by the Woodside Homeowners Association, the only two homes that met the requirement were the one at 382 and 387. So everything would follow the policy.
But there was no survey of, like, I've heard other ones up here that they survey 30 people on the block and only 2 people send one in, they can't get the light.
Mr. York?
Yes, the petition came in from the two residents. At that time, we then sent out a letter to the affected people, which just happened to be said two residents. If one of those residents would not have sent in their form, then it would have been squashed because it needed 51% of the votes. Both of them did send it in. Both of them agreed to a yes vote, and hence we have brought forward this plan tonight.
Mr. Jacob?
I was just going to comment, in Woodside, I mean, the Woodside board had brought up to Alderman Messina and myself that that particular area there was pitch black and a lot of people that were walking the dogs and stuff. And also with the ponds there, that a lot of people were concerned. So that's part of the reason those residents wanted a light there, was to lighten that big street up because there's really no houses in between there.
Yeah. And I only raised the question because it sounded like 2 people called and we got a light. And I didn't want anybody listening to go, hey, if me and my neighbor get together, we're all gonna have a light in front of our house. It was so, just for some clarity, that's all. I'm happy they got the light.
I'll let you next time, don't worry.
I apologize, Alderman Sismarski, for
You had your turn.
hijacking the committee.
You had your turn. Mr. Wesley?
Not the first time.
We own them all?
Yes, we own all the lights in the subdivision.
Mr. York?
I apologize, Alderman Sizmarsky.
Mr. York?
Yes,
We own all
we
those,
do
correct?
own all the
Okay.
lights, yes, sir.
Any other questions? Need a motion? We already,
We got a motion and a
motion and
second.
second again. Okay, you need a roll call?
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley? Alderman Sismarski?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Gladly.
Yes or no answer. Motion carries. Next, they have approval of a contract with BP&T Company for masonry work as part of the pedestrian bridge rehabilitation project, and the amount not to exceed $28,813.00. That is my motion. $28,813 even.
That is your motion?
I said that.
Okay. Second.
Mr. York.
Yes, this motion was, is brought to you today, but we'd like to have opportunity to discuss a little bit. The pedestrian bridge project came in at $28,000, came in about 3 times higher than what the engineer's estimates were for this project. So the staff is recommending that the bids be rejected and allow the staff to then go out and acquire requests for proposals from different companies and try to get a better price. There seemed to be some confusion in the exact work that needs to be done as part of this project.
Alderman Woods isn't going to answer me, so Alderman Woods?
So what was the engineer's estimate?
Engineer's estimate was, oh, sorry. Okay. Engineer's estimate was approximately $10,000 for the project, and they came in at $28,000.
So are we certain that it's not a bad estimate by the engineer, or?
Mr. York?
We're certain the fact that this was the second time we bidded this project, and the first time we got no bids, and the second time we got 4 bids. But we believe that they think that the bid may be read that they have to do all the tuck pointing of the whole structure, which isn't the case. It's a portion of it. So I think it's the language of the bid spec, for one. And also, people are a little bit hesitant to do that type of work on a bridge like that over an IDOT roadway. So I think if we work with multiple vendors and become more specific and be able to kind of help them through the process a little bit more than a closed bid. Obviously, prices come in, we don't go back to them and ask them to sharpen pencils or do anything like that, but to be able to answer the questions as they work through the process a little bit easier than the closed bid process. So that's why we're hoping to go with the request for proposals.
Mr. Woods?
So this is the second time we bid this? The first time we bid it, we had 0 bids.
This is the second time,
This is the second time we got 4 bids. This is the lowest bidder of the 4 bids.
yes.
And we're gonna throw these out because we think we can get a cheaper price if we change the bid specs.
Mr. York?
We think that the vendors do not understand the scope of the project.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Wesley?
My question is, did you guys have a meeting with the bidders and tell them exactly what they needed, their engineer? I mean, the second time,
Mr. York?
We did not have a pre-bid meeting for this.
So I'm sorry, Mike.
Go ahead.
So don't we have pre-bid meetings before, or we handpick which one's pre-bidding?
Mr. York?
Pre-bid meetings happen sometimes. They don't happen, it's not a requirement that every bid has a pre-bid meeting. So that did not take place for this project.
So, okay, then I'm going, is there a
Guess
motion on the floor?
Yeah, there is motion a second, so I'm gonna ask legal a question. I can rescind my motion and add clarity to when the bid goes out project awareness of what needs, scope of project needs to be done.
Well, there are two ways to resolve this. You could have, you've got a motion and a second to approve.
Let it fail.
It could be voted down, which then it has to be a recommendation of no. Or if you wanted to rescind your motion and it's agreed to by the seconder, it could be taken off the agenda with advice to staff to study the bid to determine how better to meet the engineer's cost estimate. So it's really up to you how you want to proceed with your staff. The result is going to be the same.
I'll just stick with it. We'll vote on it and then I'll make a new motion. Mr. Woods?
Yeah, so part of the, and I get the saving the money part, but we bid it, we got no bids, we bid it, we got 4 bids, we say they're high. We believe they're high because they don't understand the bid specs. That's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. But then we're gonna rebid it and we're gonna talk to them, we're gonna refine it. So I'm assuming that we're paying the engineers to do all this other stuff. We paid them to bid the first time, we send the specs out, we're paying them to do that, and now we're gonna rebid it and rewrite the specs. In an economy where there's a shortage of labor in the construction field and it's hard to get somebody, especially on small jobs that, the terms used in the field I can't use here, aren't quite the jobs that you'd wanna do. So sometimes you do pay a premium for those. So I'm just, as we're talking about this, trying to shed a little light on it that, you know, just because we spend more time and money to write the spec differently doesn't mean that we'll get a different outcome, and the difference in the outcome might not be equal to the cost that it takes us to get to that outcome. Right, and people might just go, you know what, any job under $50,000 in Wooddale, the heck with it, we're not gonna bid on it. So, just that we keep all those things in.
Mr. York?
Yeah, no, everything that has been said is true. I mean, these are small jobs for large bridge contractors. This isn't, I mean, this is nothing for them to do. The work that is being done right now on the Salt Creek Bridge at Irving Park Road, yeah, that's not a very big bridge, but that's one of 5 bridges that they're doing for IDOT. So I think our thought was that it was extremely high and we wouldn't go back out to bid again. We would just go out for a request for proposals, and then when we would bring it back, we would have, excuse me, we would have to check with legal, but I believe it's a supermajority in order to accept that without going through the bidding process. So, but I mean, whatever.
You could do that.
Yes.
You could waive the requirement of a bid, so long as the board chose to waive the requirement of the bid.
So if the motioner wants to go through and we believe that this is kind of the best that we can do, and with this type of project, then, I mean, obviously we want to get the project done. So it's not that we're trying to delay the project and go out for a request for proposals again. So it's whatever the board would like to do, we will support that.
Mr. Woods?
Yeah, again, I'm in favor of saving money, but again, this is the slippery slope. We've had this conversation about bids before. There's been disagreement up here on whose bid we're gonna take. We've had the argument, if you don't take the guy that bids, that's not good for the city, it doesn't look good, right? So we can't keep, in my mind, can't keep changing our argument to fit the mood of the day. And I do get that there could be a potential savings, but it's only a potential savings. We don't know it's gonna be a savings. We could wind up with nobody wanting to do the bridge. And the worst case you're telling me is we're paying a little more, but not really, because that guy's doing the whole bridge, where we're only talking about spotting the bridge. So are we really paying too much, I guess, is my question.
Mr. Wesley?
On this one, I have to agree. I mean, because the point is, going out for rebid for this, and I understand your point. I mean, we might not get anyone.
No.
And then that bridge is still going to look terrible and not get fixed. And there is some,
Like the Veterans Memorial.
I mean, there is some major problems over there, and we need to address those issues. So I say this, And it's going to cost us more money for
Sorry.
engineering for them to go back and do it. Again, do all the paperwork again. And I'm afraid that we aren't going to get another bid. I really am, and we won't get it done this year. So, I mean, yeah, we made a mistake on this one. I mean, let it go. I mean, but I would recommend that every time we do a bid like this, that you guys at least meet with the bidders and go over it a little more, and then we wouldn't be in this predicament. So that would be my rule.
Mayor?
Just go ahead and do it.
So if this company here basically thinks they're gonna do the whole bridge, if that's their intention, great, because let them do the whole bridge, because otherwise they'll be here in 2 years again, trying to get another $10,000 bid. But just, so if that's what they're thinking they're doing, or that's what they're supposed to be doing, then let them check the entire bridge and tuck point the whole thing. And then 2 years from now, we're not having this discussion that we're not getting any bids, or it might not be right.
Alderman Jacob?
I just want to clarify, that they will do, they're doing all the work. There's not, the city's not doing part of the work, they're doing everything, correct?
Mr. Matt?
Yes, no, the work that is being done, let me get to it so I can make sure that I read off it directly.
Painting and tuck
They are doing, they're doing masonry and masonry reconstruction. So they are doing part of the project. There's multiple parts of the project itself. The city will not be doing any masonry work, or, so anything that this company will be doing, BP&T will be doing, is part of what the project is, but the project is more than just this part of it.
Mr. Jacob?
Just one more question.
Last question.
When they're fixing this bridge, we have to shut part of Irving down, or are they just gonna shut a couple lanes down at a time? Or is this done at night?
Nothing.
Well, it's not gonna be done at night, because we just had a whole discussion about stuff being shut down by 7 o'clock, so that won't happen. But there may be small lane closures, partial during the day, but it won't, yeah, but they have to go through IDOT, they would have to go get a permit through them, just like we do when we have to close a lane down for the clock tower, for Wooddale, Irving, so they would have to work through IDOT for that.
Roll call? It's for the initial $28,813.
Alderman Sorrentino? No. Alderman Jacob?
Yes?
Alderman Eugene Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, I have approval of style of decorative bollards as part of the City Hall exterior aesthetic improvement program project. That is my motion. No.
I heard you.
Go ahead, Matt.
Well, as the world turns, we are back again for decorative bollards, version 3.
Mr. Woods?
I just want to commend Mr. York to actually stepped out of his comfort zone and got some more designs out there to give us a better
commend you, Mr.
selection.
York.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was, this was a interesting process to go through. We did spend some quality time with a whole bunch of lighting aficionados down at McCormick Place. And we've now brought back not one, not two, but 16 versions. So we can go through them real quick, and then if anybody likes one of them, or we can kind of cross them off as we go. So,
We'll keep our
number one.
comments till the end.
What was it?
We'll keep our comments till the end.
Okay, cool. The Premiere by Visionaire. Whoops. Okay, we've got So this is kind of how we constructed this. Kind of the marching orders from the last time was to get things that are sizable, and also to, and I believe I will quote, to use my imagination and think outside the box. So I tried to do both. So this one is 36 and 41 inches tall. It's pretty basic bollard. Comes in a bunch of different colors. It also has the 10-foot tall light, which is over here on this side.
What does number 10 look like?
Again with you?
I mean,
Chief?
if people don't like this one and you don't want me to talk about it, you can tell me to go ahead.
Keep going.
Skip?
Next.
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 Anybody like this one?
It's wood.
This was all in your packet, so you probably should have
Yeah, we already
looked
saw
ahead
'em.
of time.
I've seen them all. Number 10.
Number 2, okay, number 3, okay, so let me just talk a little bit about structure real quick. This is a solid wood process. Really interesting. They take the wood, they dip it, they basically pickle it, and they pull all the water out of the wood.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, moving on.
Pickle
2,
you.
No wood.
4.
Wait.
Well, I don't know how you guys want me to do the presentation, so nobody wants me to talk, it doesn't seem like, but you want me to.
Anybody like this one?
I don't want you to talk.
Is there anybody like this one?
No.
No, next.
Next.
I'll change it. Anyone like this one? Next. All right, 1.
Wait, all right, you got one yes?
One yes.
So the Duo is a 36-inch bollard. It's part wood, part aluminum.
I got a question. Can I ask a question?
There's only one yes.
There.
Keep going.
Regarding wood, Matt,
Yes.
I looked at wood, now granted, I'm someone who likes wood, but when it's sitting outside all day long, elements, it's gonna fade a lot quicker, and rain and snow, not very good for wood. For me, anything wood isn't automatically out.
Okay, so,
That was just my opinion.
all right, we're moving on then. We'll go away from wood.
Next.
All right,
What
so
number is
let me
it?
see, I gotta count now. So that was, okay, this is 6.
No,
No?
No.
7.
possible.
All right, so 7's a possibility. Anybody else like 7?
Does that have to plug in?
Yeah, we gotta have a lot of cords
Gotta have
for
a lot of
these,
outlets
yeah.
out there to plug it in.
Yeah, we'll get some extension cords. I'm not sure that's part of the electrical code, but we'll get a variance to do that. So that's 7. We're gonna spend quality time on 8. We'll spend no quality time for 8, so.
Yes.
We were already on 8.
Yes.
All right, so number 9, this is a very interesting product. This is 100% concrete. Comes in variable sizes and widths. It can include Wi-Fi. Also has benches and stuff with it. This is used at Apple has it on their campus. That's kind of their claim to fame right now. It's kind of a neat thing. Since it's concrete, they can tint it to whatever color we would like, and make it that way. So, obviously.
Yes.
Next.
Okay. So next.
Nobody likes any?
All right. So this is number 10.
Did you say number 10?
Number 10. Would anybody like me to talk about
I
number
think
10?
I like
Yes.
number
You
10.
like number 10 a little bit?
Anybody else like number 10?
So, all right. So this is an interesting topic as well. The 40-inch Ballard. The 40-inch Ballard is their normal size one, but they also can sit on a base, which can have different optional sizes for that. With number 10, though, now we've walked into another decision that would need to be made: is do we like the square one that looks like that, or do we like the ones that have different cutouts in them?
Mr. Woods?
So I know that we're talking about these in general and thinking specifically for City Hall. That being said, I think what we said before is that we can have different ones throughout the city, so they're similar design and shape, right? So it wouldn't be bad to have different, like over by the clock tower, have something different, or at a different part in town. And they're all similar, right, in line, so the fact that we may pick one for City Hall doesn't mean we're locked into that, just to help everybody.
No, and I mean, that's kind of what we were hoping for, was to have some sort of idea, one, for what we're gonna do at City Hall, but to have something that's expandable, customizable, is something, because even like this one, that with the 10-foot or 15-foot columns, you know, over at the train station or something like that, it would do give something a little bit different feel to it than just the 40-foot or the 40-inch or the, you know,
Mr. Wesley?
smaller bollards.
I like the one with all the lights. I don't like all that stuff in the middle of it, in the light. I like that one,
Like
that's,
this
that
one,
one right
just like
there.
the base-
I really
the
like-
base
I
model.
like that one better. That's my opinion, but I just don't like all that, like, because what it comes down to is it comes down to more maintenance for that thing, because,
Well, it could be used in other parts of the city, like you said, we could change it.
right, what I'm just saying right now for.
I like that one.
Next, please.
Is that a motion?
Yep.
That's my motion.
Next, please.
Well, I mean,
Let him go through his.
I don't like that one, but, so, whoops, on this one, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't like
No, it's
that
got
one,
3 more.
but,
13, pretty nice.
No,
so, now, these,
that I don't.
these Lumica ones, they're kind of different. They have like the wood inlays, but, they also come in different colors.
No, I don't want,
No,
I don't like
there's
the
no-
wood, but this was,
Well, this can also come in, we can put like a same color fascia or all of these different colors. So if we wanted to do like a charcoal with like a black with a champagne front or something like that, I mean, you could do that. So instead of a wood grain, like this looks like, you can make it a different aluminum color.
There.
yeah, I'll be honest, so, number 10 was my first choice when I went through the list, right, I was knocking them out. I can't make a motion, I'm sorry, Eric. And this one actually was my second one, but again, no wood.
It's not wood.
No, I understand, but
It's
it said wood or metal finish inserts.
Well, could we see the rest of them and keep this as an option
Yeah,
too?
I mean,
Don't speak out of turn,
So-
please.
That was the last one, right?
no, that wasn't the last one. That's the last one.
Space Odyssey.
And these benches, and this is the bicycle rack that goes with it. I mean, obviously, these can be utilized back with these as well, if you wanted to get into that. Because the colors and stuff are similar, are the same, gonna be for both of those.
So I'm gonna make a motion for number 10.
Second.
Roll call.
Wait, hold on.
Mayor, Peter had his hand up first.
Okay.
Could we go back to number 2?
We could.
I know that's one Alderman Sorrentino and I liked. It does say aluminum finish, so it's not necessarily wood.
That,
It's
Is that
solid
correct?
wood.
that's not number 2. Number
Solid
2 is
wood.
that one right there.
Which one?
Nice going.
But it says metal finishes. It is, says
No,
option 2.
no, that is a little bit of a misnomer. Those are what Structura utilizes. So if we have metal, there's metal involved, like in the Duo and the Viat, those are those colors. The number 2, this one here is solid wood.
Yeah.
It's solid wood, it has no metal.
Mayor,
And regarding this one,
Okay, that's fine.
when I was looking at it, if you're looking at the lights only going one way, I think there's another one might show the light on both sides, but
Yeah, like that one is both sides.
that's a different one, right, that's and that's why I saw the light only one way. And honestly, the ones that, the top two that I picked, the lights go all the way around, gives us more light. That's also what we're trying to achieve, right, I thought. But as going back to the, either number 10, what were the finishes? Are we just going black, stainless? No wood.
Well, yeah, I mean, that'll be the next thing is what color you guys would like them to be. I mean, do we want to do the charcoal? Do we want to do the black? We didn't really go into much depth on all of these because, yeah, that would be part 4 of the Ballard Gate. So, I mean, because if I would have done the work on one of these, this wasn't really, I mean, I like this one, but, I mean, I probably back in the wood grain world, but I would have done more work.
That's what you like, Mr. York?
You know, I'm here to please, you know, I'm here to make you guys
What, am I
happy.
not in charge anymore?
Do you have a picture of that
No.
one with the lights?
Then to do whatever you guys want to do. Go right ahead. I'm just sitting down there. I'm just listening.
I got my hand up.
Mayor?
Yeah, you're here, sorry. Me and Pete even talked.
Matt, one other thing, so even narrowing it down, but if I'm not mistaken, 10 and 13, you really didn't have any prices in there or anything, if I recall.
10 he does.
Was it 10 you did, 13 you didn't? Well, my iPad broke, so I didn't have the.
Look.
Here, use mine, it works.
Yeah, so the pricing of option 10
Okay, so
was
one of
10
them didn't have, I know one, because I think it was 10, 13, and 6
Yeah.
in that order were my top 3.
Yeah, because
Have a gavel?
13, we did receive some pricing for that yesterday, I believe. I can look that up real quick and see if we can.
Who's gonna ask me? Sonny, did you have something to add? No.
I like 13. That's what I like to add, if I may.
Well, there's a roll call, or there's a motion and a second
Can we look at 13 again?
on number 10.
I believe it was that one.
So you're metal. Wood finishes. What, Eugene Wesley?
Matt, do you know how many that we would have to put out? Did you guys work those, how many we needed?
I believe the number is 10.
All right, so,
Yeah, it was 10.
I guess, do we have to make the motion to approve number 10 with the dollar amount that you got here? Is this dollar amount fully?
Mr. York?
I would not make that motion tonight for a dollar amount for the pure fact that I really have no idea exactly what the cost is gonna be. I'd like to really get with the supplier or the distributor and make sure we have the right colors and all that kind of stuff. And if, I guess the biggest question is, what's the size that we want to do? Is it 40 inches? Do we want to try to do 48? If we can't do 40, if we want to do 48 like the white ones are now, can we do a 48 with them? What's the price going to be? If we can't do a 48, what's the price, what's a solid price on the 40s and all that kind of stuff?
So roll call?
I'm-
Oh, you still want direction?
Yeah.
I thought we already had this discussion. I know we did. I thought we said 48 inch. We said stay at 48,
Okay.
whatever it is outside, we said to stay at that height. I know we did.
Well,
We can look back on it.
yeah, but the ones that are outside are 48 inches.
That's
These
what
are,
we said.
these standard come stock at 40. So, what we can do is we can, if we get direction to go with the Vancouver product, then I will go back and I will work with them and get a bunch of different options from 20, if we can do anything lower than 40 up to,
So you'll be back.
48, yes. So
Okay.
as long as I know which one I'm doing the work on.
All right, his motion is there.
You got a motion, a second. Believe me, I'm in favor of number 10, but seems to be a little consensus on 13. Maybe you might as well get the pricing on 13. Because 40 on this one could be $1,000. And 48 could be $3,000 because they're making them custom, right? And, you know, so.
So do 10 and,
I'll amend my, I can amend my motion to go and check on 10 and 13. Come back to council, please,
Okay.
with, so long as the second agrees as far as 10 and 10, number 10, number 13, and 48-inch height. We already know 13
or did,
comes in 48, it said that, I think. So, does the seconder agree?
Seconder has a question before the seconder agrees.
Hashtag 10.
No, 'cause so my concern is we're going, so is there a cheaper one too? Why don't we get a price for all 40 of them? So we either like one the best, and if that costs $200 more, is that the biggest concern? I mean, if we're trying to make the town look good, is that?
I think the concern
Because if we're gonna
was
do two, then we might as well do three.
pretty,
And if you do three, then what's wrong with four?
I'm pretty sure that the consensus of the last council, we wanted 48-inch. And this is saying it only comes in 40, we're not sure if they'll do 48. So you'd have to go back and ask full council again, do you want 48 or do you want 40? Because I know it was unanimous, say at 48, I believe. Mayor?
I agree on the 48. My only thing is, I said, you know, sometimes when you do custom, right, it becomes 3 times the price, and it's $3,000. I like number 10 the best. I said it, I mean, that was my opinion.
I heard you.
I'll be honest, number 13 was second, so we've had a couple over there, a couple over here. You know, and what's the big deal?
Well-
We bring 2 back to the full council, and they'll have to make a decision that night on the 8, on the 2 items, I mean, not the. Otherwise, I envision a longer meeting.
All right, well, we gave, the
As-
seconder
as-
did not agree yet, so I can't
As this
move
meeting's,
forward.
as this meeting's getting longer.
And I'm getting older.
Once again, so this is a flexible light system, it's got multiple heights and stuff. Every one of them that you're gonna do is gonna have the same issues. They make a 30, they only make a 42, you're gonna go back and forth. I mean, I gotta start out with, is that the one you like or it's not the one you like? So that's the big question. And if it's $100,000 more to make them 48 as opposed to 42, then is that the big issue? And it's more, there's a greater need to have it flexible, because in different locations, you don't want them 48, you might want them 24 or 36. Or, as that taller one is by the train station, 8 foot. So, I mean, that's why I prefer this one. I like it, it's more pleasing, it's more warming, it's welcoming.
You-
The other one looks more institutional to me, if you will.
You're
It's not
hired.
that I don't like it, but, you know, I think it's a different application for our community, for what we're doing, and I think it fits right in.
Alderman Jacob?
I was just gonna say, seeing, as the mayor said, I mean, a few of us do like 13, some of us like 10, we have 3 aldermen missing. If we get quotes on 2 different lights and get everybody to vote on it, I mean, it's gonna be either one, A or B, I mean, there's not gonna be a big discussion on
It
it.
comes next week, though. Correct?
No, this won't come back next week because I have to have the packet to Mr. Murmas at like 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, so.
So,
I could work all night, but I'm gonna guess that the people that work for Legman Lighting
I
Company.
suggest standing by the one that you plug in.
Yeah, well, I can get that one. But just looking at their website while we're talking about this, they do have the different heights, but they don't come on a base per se. So they're.
The other one you mean?
No, the Vancouver ones. This one here. See, they sit on kind of where they're at. they don't really talk a lot about having, like, a lot of the bollards will have, let me see if I can show one. Like this one here, the circular
Plug-in
part,
one.
right there. From there down is the extruded aluminum base, and then you sit this one on top of it, and it bolts two, so that it becomes one. So this one can go, you can make it however tall you want, because this post here just gets extruded out in different sizes.
What
Whereas,
number was that one?
that was 7.
So let's add 7. If you can do 2, you can do 3. Does the motioner agree?
I don't like 7, no.
You don't even like 7 either.
I'm okay with 7. If our concern is that it's cheaper and it's more flexible, then
I didn't say cheap.
No, this one's not cheaper. This one's more expensive, but.
well, then we don't want to do that one.
But-
Or do we?
If it's outrageous, that's all.
But, I mean, that's all I'm saying is that this one may or may not be expandable except for their stock sizes.
So 7, 13, and 10.
Well, it looks like it from the.
Three choices.
It looks like it is, but I just don't know. So I will
We'll find out.
work with them to try to come up with different options.
So the seconder would like 7, 13, and 10. Does the motioner agree?
The 5, 6, and what?
Do we want to do an exacta box on
7,
this?
13, and 10.
Trifecta?
Trifecta?
Yeah, trifecta? A box, or are we going straight up?
7, 10, and 13.
Okay. So the new motion agreed upon is,
7, 10, and 13.
yeah, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We don't need a roll call for this, do we? Because there's no monetary. Yeah. All those, I don't even know what I want to say anymore. All those approve?
Aye.
Opposed?
Is there a vote here?
Motion carries.
10 and 13.
All right.
All right.
Need an approval of contract with Brothers Asphalt Paving Incorporation for the 2018 patching program in the not to exceed amount of $129,966.25. That's my motion.
Second.
Questions? Roll call?
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley? Alderman Sismarski?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, I have approval agreement between the City of Wooddale and the Detroit Salt Company for bulk road salt contract in the not to exceed amount of $61,000, $61,106.50. That is my motion.
Second.
Questions? There?
Matt, so, how much do we have left, and we bought everything we were supposed to for last year, or do we have something left over again? I forgot.
Mr. York?
I don't recall what you,
Yes, we do have 147 tons of salt left over.
and do we have to purchase any more?
We've purchased that.
It's done.
That's done.
We have.
We have to purchase it, but they will hold it at their yard for us at no charge. So that's why we reduce the amount of salt that we purchase for next year, for this
Right.
year. We reduce that amount because we already have that much.
And,
And then we plus all the stuff that we have currently in stock over at the yard.
and
Follow
what
up.
is that number that we, was it 1,100 ton, or?
The,
Mr.
did
York?
we-
this contract here that we're asking for tonight is 700 tons,
And we have 147.
plus what we have at the shop, which is about 300 tons.
Okay.
3.
So we're basically right around 1,100 again.
Yes.
Okay, that's,
You still have a question, Mr. Wesley?
I think we should go lower.
Roll call?
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley? Alderman Sismarski?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
Motion carries. Last one, Mrs. York.
Oh.
Approval of a contract to demolish 262 North Hemlock by Anthem Excavation and demolition, sorry, in the amount not to exceed $10,000, $10,400 and zero change. That's my motion.
Second.
Questions, Mr. Jacob?
Why are we just demolishing the one property when we have a property right next door to this? Why
It's
don't
already
we do both
demolished.
at the same time?
That's gone already.
No, the restaurant?
Mr. Murmas?
I think tonight, just this item's on the agenda and all that other stuff we can talk about after the meeting.
Any other questions? Mr. Wesley?
Is that county, are they seating it or are we gonna see it?
Mr. York?
Yeah, that is the cost for them just to do the demolish and the restoration of the land up to grade, and then we would do the landscaping portion of it.
But this, I'm sorry, so this price may change if our district burns it down or?
Mr. York?
It could, we'd have to negotiate with them what that price would be. Since I don't know how much material is going to be left over after the fire department is done with them, there's really no way to get a cost ahead of time, and we would like to align the demolition expediently after the fire department is done with it.
Anything left, that house is about 200 years old. Okay, all those, roll call, please.
Alderman Sorrentino? Yes. Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Eugene Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes,
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
motion carries. Any items considered for future meetings? None being made, I make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
So moved, eh? I didn't feel like asking for nays, they're not gonna say nothing.